Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 61. This is our weekly music production, technology, and marketing podcast. And today we're going to take some look at some new gear. Well, new plugins, I guess would be a better term, or VST. Curtis has a demo of something he cooked up. We've also got some news on the Pro-800, which we all are interested in keeping an eye on, let's say. And then we'll also take a rather deep dive into the auto caption world of social media and why it's important for social media. And we actually have some scientific evidence and research. It's not just just talking out of wherever we want to say. And then we'll also talk what's the best and most cost-effective method and why we as musicians should consider using it beyond just posts that are just our music or something like that. So thanks to everyone who's joining us live. Let us know what you've been up to in the chat. And I also want to give a quick welcome and hello to all of the new listeners over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We keep seeing the number go up, and it means the world to have you all listening. So thanks for joining. If you enjoy the show, consider giving it a rating and a review. It helps a ton to get us to new ears and eyes. With all that said, my name is Sunwarper, and with me today is Eon Lake. How are you?
Hello, I am here.
That's good.
I'm all right. Yeah. Things are getting brighter and warmer here. I'm thinking about being maybe a little bit less grumpy for a bit as a result.
Oh no! Yay. No, this is terrible. We need your bit of grump to to offset our chipper attitudes, right? So what you been up to? Anything cool?
I went to a electronic music gig thing with people playing, one of which I knew, which is why I was there, and it was quite close to me as well.
Yeah,
so that was good.
That's awesome.
There's a mini festival called Awakenings. Swansea that was playing along with a couple of other people. It was really interesting. I like. It's the sort of gig where you can go up to them afterwards and talk to them. So on. So it's all very, very friendly and everyone knows each other. So yeah, that was nice.
I got to spin it real quick to make sense on the podcast. What gear were they using?
So yeah, modular and sequencing and stuff. Second guy had a massive old synth. I think it was a Yamaha SY. I forget which. He had some 5U modular as well and some Euro rack, but most of it seemed to be on his old vintage synth.
Nice.
And then the guy who headlined had he looked a little bit more modern. He had an SP404, but not the Mark II. And a Roland synth and some other bits and pieces, some effects and whatnot. But yeah, it's nice to be able to have a little nose around as well. I'm always looking at the stage.
I know you're getting prepped for your show, so I thought you might be getting some research in while you're enjoying all the awesome tunes and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also with us is ecstatic arm waver Curtis. What's up?
All right, that's me. Oh yeah,
I saw you.
Bendu, what Bendu put in the thing, he got the copy of Maroon that I sent out a while back, and it's always that anxiety, isn't it, when you send something out? Is it going to get across? Because I'm sending it across the Atlantic from here in Prague. Is it going to get to? I heard from Shady a couple of days ago. I heard from Maureen's friend in the Discord. I heard from Bendu. There's a couple more others, but they look like they're making their way across, which is nice. So I'm glad you got it, Ben. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you got the note and everything, and it all is wonderful. But yeah, I'm ecstatic this week. It's been a mental week of non-music, absolutely no music. I haven't opened up Ableton. Opened up Ableton for the first time today in about a week.
Same here.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like just. I've been running a production here in Prague. I've been running a play. I've been taking lights and sound, and it's taken everything, because obviously when you work, I'm part of the production company, so you're also the stage manager and you're also the producer and you're also everything. So there's a lot of as well as the lights and sound, there's all the nuts and bolts and the screws of sets and getting things across from one end of the city to the other, and it's been a hustle, mate. It's been a hustle. Absolutely fantastic. That's beautiful.
So, sounds very, very eventful. Let's put it.
Quite literally eventful. Yeah, been insane, man. But yeah, it's cool. It's been good fun. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. What have you been doing, Sam Walker?
I got to see Return of the Jedi in the theaters over the weekend. That was a highlight of my week, my month, whatever you want to call it. It was awesome. Yeah,
it was
so
on the big
cool.
screen?
What's that?
Was it different on the big screen?
Yeah, well, it's really cool with the surround sound mix was incredible. Like, yeah, really cool. Because I mean, I usually watch it on my TV speakers, but hearing like the TIE fighters going across your ears, we were right in the center too, so it was like a really good space for all the sounds. And there was like all these little dialogues, like in Jabba's palace. I heard all this laughing, and I thought it was the crowd, and then I was like, that sounds like, you know, producer speaking. That sounds like kind of off and away or whatever. And then I realized it was just different speakers with the laughter, like the laugh track, not laugh track, but like these people doing it. It was really cool. So I did that, and then I had a flashback to my college years because I spent quite a while yesterday doing all this research on these caption things, because I've been using it for my social media, and I've seen quite a good result from it. And it just reminded me of those nights. I woke up at like 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, and it just reminded me of all those like super late nights in college studying and not getting any sleep. So here we are. At least this is something I actually care about, rather than, you know, just writing a 16-page essay on some philosopher or something. But, you know,
I mean, that sounds like a pretty fun time to write.
16 pages on a philosopher? I don't think so. 5 pages, sure.
I remember 16? My Discord on Rousseauian general in particular, Will, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I guess that's where you and I are different. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're here. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We have Survey Channel in the chat. We have Bendu in the chat. It's really nice to hear that what you guys have been up to. Survey Channel's got a gig on the 23rd in Buffalo, which is awesome. I did get that right. No, yeah, 23rd.
Yeah, here's his comment.
There you go. Playing a venue on the 23rd. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. Bendu caught up with an old friend, and since early 2020, pre-pandemic, like that's insane. That's insane. And as I've just seen, Shady has just joined. Hello, Shady. Nice to see you. Shady also.
Yeah, hey, Shady, what's going on? How's your week been?
Yeah, let us know what you've been doing, bro. They've got another release out on Shady Ridge Records, which looks very, very interesting.
I saw that. Yeah.
Only Bell and Varian, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I like both of them. I'm definitely going to be giving that a listen.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to that one. I need to check it out. Got caught up yesterday with Asef Stripe's new release, which he just quickly, just subliminally, just put underneath the radar and just out on Bandcamp.
Sneak out there.
Yeah, it's just bang. There's a massive LP for no other reason than I want to, and that's beautiful. So yeah, Lonely Bell and Shady Ridge, that's to come. That's gonna be fun. So yeah, let us know in the chat what you've been up to. It'd be lovely to hear what else is going on. So yeah. Should we get into it, gents?
Yeah.
Walker, how are we starting off?
I think we have to start with your demo.
Okay, let's start with the demo, shall we?
Yeah.
So it's that PSA time of the year, time of the month, time of the week. We love PSAs. We love free stuff. Let's face it, it's the best stuff. There is a brand new Labs out by Spitfire Audio. If I'm just going to share my screen, if I put this up here, so we can all see it. Obsolete Machines, gentlemen. They are going hard with the imagery this time. We're not going to play this because I was playing around earlier on, but basically Sam Battle, Look Mum No Computer, recorded a load of retro sounds coming out of apparently he has a museum in Kent. I didn't know that. I don't know who else knew that, but apparently he does.
Just learn.
Yeah, exactly. Learning. If we're learning, we're growing, we're coming together.
Lifelong learners, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, my friend. So yeah, played around with this. This seemed very different because recently very different.
Unsurprisingly.
Very experimental, but very also very crunchy, very thick, very full. Very different. Like they've been emulating a lot of like retro sounds recently, and they've just gone completely the other way and gone, hey, have this experimental sound. Completely free, as all labs are, and absolutely rife for sound design and for processing and doing what you want. Anyone listening back, or anyone who is listening on the podcast or Apple Music, if you're new to production and you don't know about labs, go find it. They are fantastic kind of free inspiration machines. They're really, really interesting. And so I took an 8-track, because there's 8 presets on the new one itself, and I made a little 8-track.
Yeah,
thing.
Before we show the demo, I just want to mention Hydro Fighter, one of our patrons, is in the chat. He says, "Hey guys, welcome, Hydro Fighter. How are you? What's going on?" All right. Anything else you want to add, or should we just get to the sound demo?
No, just it's really interesting. There's from the demo itself, there's not much behind. I've tried to keep it as preset-y as possible so you can kind of hear the sounds. Okay. It's only a little clip. I think it's only about 2.5 minutes. I made a whole kind of like 7-minute track, but I'm not going to subject you to that straight away. You know, I might do that in a bit, but yeah, 2.5 minutes. You can just hear the sounds. As always, again, I always say, great for sound design, great for building effects chains and seeing how you can manipulate sound. So yeah, let's see the demo and go from there.
All right, here we go. Oh, is that near the end? Yeah, hold on. I don't know why it started at the end. Here it is.
I can see how this grew to 7 minutes.
This is cut in for about 3 minutes in.
You did well to keep it that short.
I would love to see too the actual, like, what you're doing with the plugin. You know what I mean? Like seeing how because I see you twisting knobs and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm going to play around with it a bit more, I think, in my live stream after the show. So I always put the DAW up on that. So we'll have a play around. But it's not much on it. It's just a filters really.
And choices of like what sound you're doing or something.
Yeah, so there's a couple of drones in there. There's some basses. There's some lead sounds, some key sounds, and I think. Yeah, and all I was really doing was playing around with the pan and playing around with the filter. There was a bit of send and return, so like reverb and delays and stuff, but not much going on. There you go. So I try to keep the presets as preset-y as possible, so you can kind of hear the sounds. But it has got that kind of Game Boy, Nintendo
8-bit,
kind of 8-bit sound.
Chiptune chunk.
Yeah. And there's a lot there that you can do. Again, rife for sound design, rife for kind of trying to see how you can manipulate sounds. So if you're having a sound design session, it's the way to go forward. Yeah. Let us know.
Like you downloading it?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
To be honest, I've been looking for a way of reproducing his 1,000 oscillator drone since he made the thing.
Yeah,
that's absolutely epic. I don't know if nobody watched that video of Look Mum No Computer making his 1,000 oscillator drone synth. It's definitely worth a watch. Sounds epic, and there's a sample of it on there apparently. So
there we go.
There's a wish of mine fulfilled. Yeah, definitely downloading it, if only for that.
Exactly.
Nice.
I mean, it's free. What more can you want out of it? You know, having a little twiddle, having a little gander on it, just to see kind of where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, some of the sounds are not necessarily like an idea that appeals to me, but at that price, I'll
well, that distinctive price.
Exactly.
Sunwarp, are you keen? Are you interested? Are you going to go down on it? You got a new laptop.
Yeah, I think so. It looks really cool. I'm still switching between the two. Like I was talking about getting a dock, right? I got this tiny little one, but it's small, which I like, but it can actually charge the computer if it's connected to power. If the dock is connected to power, it can charge the laptop and charge a phone at the same time. So for my little surf guitar live stream tomorrow, I can actually use my phones as the cameras.
Oh, the vote's in, are they?
Yeah, well, it's not ended, but the vote is pretty overwhelming for surf guitars, so that's what we're going with. But so I'm gonna try to like get one angle that's looking at the SP. I'm going like this because the SP's right there, and then one that's like the usual, but they'll be in 1080p or 4K instead of the terrible, like it had to be 360p on that camera. But anyways, it's really cool. But I'm still figuring out like what I want to put on the one versus the other because I'm still doing some commission work like on the desktop. So I got to figure it out. But I mean, it's free and it's an easy download. So I'll probably just put it on both. I just have to download. I think, don't you need like a Labs or you need the Spitfire app or something on the computer to do all? Yeah, so I have to get that. But I need to get the BBC strings or whatever they are too that I have. So I'll be getting there soon. I got Diva. I got Repro. I got Super Massive, so we're good. But yeah, you can't beat free, and I love that. Like from what I remember with the Labs, it's been a while since I downloaded one. You just go, download this one, download that one, download this one, download that one. You know, like it's so easy. So it's really cool that they have so many sounds and stuff that are just available for free. Like if you're starting out or strapped for cash at the moment, like there's a lot you can do with the sounds they've got on those.
Definitely,
very much so. Yeah. I think what's really interesting about this latest release is that they're growing in clout almost, for want of a better phrase. They're growing in clout. When you look back at their early releases, they're a bit ropey. I mean, they're lovely, but they're a bit ropey. They're very experimental, almost to the point of kind of not being very usable in that regard. But here, you know, you've got you've got well-renowned names. They've had, you know, Philip Glass come through on there. Now they've got Look Mum No Computer, and you know, the names are growing and they're doing more. And these are very usable sounds. They're very classic sounds, which, you know, in some regards, like, you know, you pay a lot of money for. So it's really interesting to see them bring that to the forefront for free.
Yeah, definitely. And they had one of the, I think, first Labs was a really good piano. It was like either really good piano or string, like free sample libraries, or these very experimental, like you were saying. That's like all they had. And now it's kind of like getting, I feel like, more of a middle ground. There's like some stuff that's like synths or this and that, and then the really out there stuff, and then like, yeah, here's a piano. You know.
I mean, I had the fortune to use the entire Spitfire audio for a while. You know, that like the stuff that you pay for, and they are phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're insane. You mean you're selling your liver to get them, but like they are fantastic. So it's lovely to see them kind of give a nod to that for free, if that makes sense. It's really nice to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd like to know in the chat what you guys think. If this is something you'd add to your arsenal, listening back on Spotify or Apple Podcast, what do you think? Is this something that you want to see? Is there an even better free plugin that we've missed? Because that was our free plugin for the week.
Or are you going to build your own 1,000 oscillator drone synth?
Actually, I do have a free thing that I did want to mention. I didn't get a chance to add it because it just announced, but AudioKit Pro, I don't know if you remember, they did that retro Saga synth that I did on the phone. They just put up another free app that's I think it's called King of FM, and it's it's a thing of the DX7 and like the, I want to say S77 or something. Ian, like maybe you can correct me. Let me look on the they posted it on their Instagram. It looks really cool though, and it's free. And I guess I'm new to the like M1 and M2 setup, but I believe you can use these apps on your Macs as well. DX7 and SY77.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Sorry, I was close. I got the S and the date or the number, but yeah, it's completely free. Inspired by classic 80s FM synths like the DX7 and SY77. If you have an iPhone, I don't know if it's on Android, but yeah, looks pretty cool.
Survey Channel's comment is interesting. They're great. They have a signature sound to them, so I try to limit them. I mean, I hear there's stuff that reminds me of stuff used by the big composers.
I know what he means with like the pianos. When I hear pianos in songs, sometimes I'm like, oh, that sounds like that Spitfire. I mean, it sounds great. I use it, but yeah, he says even at least the pianos and stuff. I know what you mean, yeah. But it sounds good.
I think it's about layering though, isn't it, when it comes to things like
and EQ and stuff. But it's like, what's the difference? It's a piano, right? So it's like if two people recorded the same acoustic guitar, or both had, like the same acoustic guitar, it's very similar probably. So, but not that it's a pro or con. It is an interesting note though, that Survey Channel says, and yeah,
very much so. Before we move to the next segment for the day, we have a lot of our patrons in the chat. We've got Bendu, we've got Hydrofighter, we've got Shady in there. We thank you for your patronage. It helps us do what we do. And if you yourself are liking what we're doing and you're not a patron and you fancy giving us a bit of support, consider becoming a patron. You can do it in the description below, or in the description in your podcasting bay. We're currently doing a little bit of an informal drive, almost pledge drive. We're currently using StreamYard, which everyone here has said is a really nice app, and it's really nice and very interactive, and all those keyframes and all that stuff. And we're saving up for the Pro essentially. Oh, there we go. Nice.
I just had to do it real quick since you mentioned it.
We are currently streaming on the free version, hence why there's a little duck in the corner. The Eon Lake, the
StreamYard Lake.
The StreamYard Lake duck, yeah. And we are we're trying to get the Pro so we can stream in 1080p, and also we can have second cameras. You guys, our patrons, you've said that you wanted us to see kind of more workflow stuff and things in the DAW in live time, in real time.
Yeah, basically sharing a screen, like having a camera on as I use the SP, or the way Josh does some of his live streams where he's making a song, we can do that on here as well. Like he can showcase things, or like that Spitfire, we can actually demo that live. So if anybody has questions, or like when I was saying, oh, I want to see the actual contact player or the player, he can just show it, So yeah,
exactly. So if you like what we're doing, plus other things as well, also we have at Audionautic Records, we have a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, because we are, as Hydrofighter said a while back, we are ambitious kids, and so we are.
But yeah, but we're over, since last episode, we're over halfway to the goal to get the StreamYard Pro. So we're very close. If you want to join the Patreon, you also get additional stuff, we have a hangout every month where we talk about all kinds of things. The next one, Starstream Hangout, is this Sunday at this time, 11 a.m. Pacific, where we talk about all kinds of things with the patrons. We go through different tech. We talk about issues anyone is having, whatever anyone wants to bring to the table. It's really fun. All of us are there, and we love talking with the patrons about it. You also get a Twitter group. You get a exclusive Discord channel, as well as the Discord is open to anyone. And yeah, there's a few other things. You can check the link in the description. It's patreon.com/audionautic. And if you don't want a monthly subscription, but you'd like to help us get StreamYard Pro, there's also a PayPal link in the description if you want to head over there.
Very much. Also, we got a new patron in the week, which was very exciting. I remember calling up some Whooper just before going to bed. Saying, we got a new patron, we got a new patron. Abby, thank you very much for your patronage.
Yes, thank you so much, Abby.
It's cool. Yeah. Anything to add to that, Eon Lake, before we move on?
No, just my thanks.
Yeah, that's what we need. Love and thanks and everything. It's all good. I think we do that Gareth Bale. What does Gareth Bale do? He does that. I think that's what we do. We do
little
that.
heart,
So,
yeah,
little heart. That's the one. Next up, I have already queued it up for some Whooper to share, but we have got a development in the way of the Behringer Pro-800. This was
notice that little red number. Once Curtis moves his you see that? See the little red number? It's dropped from what was, I believe, $5.99, maybe $4.99. But it's now $3.99, so it's down $200. From when we last covered it in December. You can check. We have a video if you just go to the Audionautic YouTube page after this. Of course, you can see our take when we showcase like what the demo that Behringer put up when they. I guess they actually announced it a while ago, but when they kind of like re-announced it and started getting the hype back up in December. So we covered that, but yeah, it was 600. And then after that, we covered that Behringer announced that they were going to be dropping the prices on multiple synths. And we covered all the different synths they were dropping, some 100, some 200. And I remember myself, and I think all of us were like, boy, it'd be nice if that Pro-800 would go down in price. And it did. And apparently, if you look back at this Sweetwater, it says hot new item on the way in that green under the price. It says order today to reserve yours now, risk-free. We expect these to arrive in a few months. So a lot of the comments on that previous video of ours were like, it doesn't exist, or, this, whenever it does come out, because I guess, like I said, they've been kind of like talking about it for a while. So it's still kind of, I don't want to say it's up in the air. They did announce it's in production. They showed pictures, but the way this is just saying, expect it to arrive in a few months. It's like, I mean, they're pushing it to the end, but it's not quite, I'm still not fully convinced. You know what I mean?
They're really milking that
Yeah, it's like, I just give like at least like it will arrive in a few months, but expected to arrive it's that wording that kind of like just gets me a little concerned. But I'm curious to hear your guys' take. But chat too, does the price change your opinion on the synth at all? And anyone listening after or on the podcast, what did you call it? Podcast Bays? I like that, Podcast Bays. It's very spacey. You called it earlier, Curtis. But if you're listening, just let us know there's a question part on Spotify. But yeah, what do you guys think? Does the chat, the chat, I'd love to hear your take, but does the price change your opinion at all? Curtis?
Sorry, I just kicked Steve when I tried to put my foot up on the chair. Yeah, exactly. Dude, I want to put my feet up anyway. I want it. I wanted it. I would quite happily, like, I've been thinking about I haven't bought a synthesizer for a while. I'm seriously considering getting this one when I get my bonus. Because why plan for a mortgage or anything like that when you just buy synthesizers, right?
Yeah. The synths will keep you warm. You don't need to pay it like a heating bill, just the electric bill. But
exactly,
get a solar generator.
And I mean, for $399, it is lush. It is wonderful. It would make a lovely addition to my tabletop and everything. I've been going more MIDI recently just because of what I've got, so I think it would be a nice little balancer out of that. I believe. I don't know if Eon Lake's stare is in incredulity about the fact of me moving across to MIDI for a little bit or not.
We'll
I don't know.
Zoom in there.
Whatever works for you, bro.
I get there. Mainly, yeah. But I mean, I want it. I want to play with it. I might wait for it because what's quite cool here in the Czech Republic is you're in the center of Europe, right? So there's a massive secondhand marketplace, which is you can get something shipped from where Sound Phaser lives in Portugal over here relatively cheap, and you have a marketplace for it. So I might wait for a second hand when someone inevitably buys it and decides it's not for them and then sells it for half the price. That's what I'm thinking about doing. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm very inclined, as I've said, to sell my mini log for it, but it's that whole weird, not fully out and not officially like, yeah, it's coming. And I'd much rather wait anyways to like really get a feel for its build quality and all that stuff, see the reviews. And like Hydro Fighter is saying, Behringer's notorious for teasing new products for a long time. They could just create a new synth, and by the time they release it, it would be retro. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When I was Googling, because someone on that previous Pro-800 video we posted the clip of, someone was like, when they announced this like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that. And so I did some looking, and I found Synthopia or one of those articles talking about, you know, the Behringer Pro-800. It's like, what? 2 or 3 years ago? So yeah, I don't know. Ian, like, what's your take on it?
Well, I have I've been having to come to terms with the fact that my favorite synth is the MS-20, my lovely blue sparkly thing in front of me. So much so that I've got a copy as well, a Behringer copy too. So I got 2 of them. And the synth I would really like to have is the what is it? It's the MS-3100, Korg MS-3100. They haven't made any of those since probably 1980 or something, but it's kind of like an MS-20. No, it's the PS, 3100, but it's polyphonic, and it had enough voices that you could play every single key on the keyboard at once, but it's an analog synth.
That's cool.
It sounds amazing, and that is my dream. I think the Behringer Pro-800 is about as close as I'm going to get.
That was a long build-up to get to
that. Because I'd like that sort of analog polyphony. I'd love something that sounded like that. Now, this is, it's an 8-voice polysynth. I mean, my dream synth is somewhere in the region of $6,000 if you can find someone selling them. Whereas, you could have 8-voice analog goodness for very little here, So for that point of view, it's pretty tempting, I must admit. I don't want to have to multi-track my Moog anymore or any of that stuff. No, I just, there is part of me that is definitely interested in this, but I think I'd want to hear more of it first.
Exactly. Yeah, the demo sounded great, but that was before it was even in production or anything like that. I want to hear other like Loop Pop or Sonic State or anything like that, like hear what they can do with it, or anyone out in the wild, just like not in a controlled, like the company's best presentation of it and stuff. I mean, I have the, what is it called? The MS-1 right here, and I love it. I've had it for 4 or 5 years. So it's a pretty decent quality. The only thing for me that's a little wonky is this little knob thing. I'm not the biggest fan, but that's completely different. Over in the chat, Survey Channel says he's tempted to sell the Deepmind once this thing launches, but then I remember they're making a Poly 6 clone. So yeah, I know. When they announced that, what's the one, the Korg Monopoly?
Monopoly, yeah.
When they were doing that one, Behringer, I was so tempted to get that one, and then they announced this one, and I was like, oh, there's too many, and I'm sure they'll announce like 18 more in the next day or two, or maybe in this hour they announced a few more, but yeah, I don't know. And Bendu asked how much to go on the StreamYard goal. I believe we have what is it? I'm trying to do math live. I think it's like $90 left, $80 left.
It's 250 for the year, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're at 160, I think.
Well, 140 according
140. Okay, sorry. I've had like 3 hours of sleep, so forgive me.
So yeah, we're $140 till we get there. $140 in. We have to get to 250. So what that's about? We're about 100. To be specific, we're about $111.09 short of our goal.
Yeah, so we're getting there.
We're getting there.
So we are. If I did my math right, we are over 50%, halfway there.
Yeah. We're on our
way. I wasn't wrong when I asserted that earlier.
No, not at all. But yeah.
And Survey Channel says, I got the Monopoly and think the Poly 6 clone would be a nice compliment. Yeah. But that Behringer Pro-800 or the Pro-800, that thing sounds nice. I did a thing, I don't know if I'll ever put it up, but on Koala, I captured some sounds from that demo video and made a track using like chromatic mode, using the chords that they were playing in the video, and just to kind of get a feel for like what the synth would sound like. It was fun, but that is a fun little way to kind of demo out what things kind of sound like and things like that. Survey Channel also says Ben's gonna do the thing, so
be nice to see. I mean, I don't know what the thing is, but it's Bendu, so I'm sure it's going to be great.
It's the thing, yeah.
So yeah, we'd like to see. I mean, if you get the Poly 6 clone Survey Channel, I'll get the Pro-800, and then we'll play it for a bit, and then we can trade. That'd be a way to go forward. So yeah, our last piece of news for the day, because we are having quite an extensive marketing minute from Sunwalker this week, going completely against the advertising standards agency.
It's, if we put an S, marketing minutes, it will be minutes.
Yeah. It is. So yeah, we have that to look forward to. But Bandcamp Friday is coming up May 5th or 5th of May for anyone on this side of the Atlantic.
Does it bother you when you see it the other way?
No, I just being an ex-English teacher, I can't help but make that delineation. That's all. I just see it in my head, and it's just like, yeah. Anyway, it's like not correcting people's grammar. It's like you have to. It's an active practice. Anyway, he says the shaven chimp who can't do anything. It is Bandcamp Friday coming up on the 5th of May. We have another long weekend as well. If you're in Europe and America, maybe this is the best time to get out and support the people that we love in the community. I'm going to enlarge that so people can see. 5th of May, 4th of August, September 1st, and October 6th for Balance.
So skipping June and July. Okay.
Skipping June and July. I don't know why, but did they do that last year?
I think they skipped June.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe this is the beginning of the end. So yeah, it's coming up. Lots of new labels. Like we said, Shady Ridge had an album out, or is out. I can't remember, but
it's out.
Coming. It's
out now on Friday. Yeah,
came out on Friday. That's there. And there's lots of wonderful stuff out on Wormhole. We have new releases here on Audionautic Records from FCC. Beyond
FCC, we got your newest release and then my monthly series. So there's quite a lot on Audionautic, and we're just waiting for Eon Lake to send us something. But I don't know what that'll. Yeah. We're waiting with bated breath, but we never. I check the email every day, nothing.
Speaking of which, David,
I was already on it. Yeah, beat you to it. Yeah, David, one of our patrons, is in the chat, and what I think Curtis is going to say, I'll let him finish.
Well, you probably read my mind, as the yin and yang continues to exist. ASF Stripe released a new album yesterday, I believe. Might be. I saw it yesterday. It doesn't mean it was released yesterday, but brand new album out, and it's awesome. It very much reminds me of. I don't know if you guys have ever played FTL, Faster Than Light.
Oh, I love that. I have it on my iPad. Yeah,
fantastic game, wonderful soundtrack, and it reminds me of that in a very similar fashion. It's very chill, very spacey, very melodically based, and overlapping melodies, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
Big congrats on the release, David. Yeah, Survey Channel's like FTL. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, if anybody has any recommendations for Bandcamp Friday or something new from themselves, post it in the chat.
That's what I want to say. All right, you stall, and I'm going to open the massive links that we have.
Yeah, we've got a lot of links. So, okay, I'm going to start with the preamble, I guess, anyways, because I have to give that. So we're going to go to the marketing minute. So today, I wanted to try something a little different because I've been testing out using captions on some of my videos. Now, yeah, a lot of my videos are, I guess you could call them like educational or talking over creating something. So it kind of fits for captions, but in a little bit, we'll talk about other ways that we kind of think you can use them if you don't do that type of thing. But anyway, so captions on social media, you've probably seen it where you have these, while someone's talking, all of the text is popping up on the screen kind of in time with their phrasing. And so today we're going to talk apps to add those captions, some free, some that cost And are you all right there, Curtis?
Yeah, there's a lot of links here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do all the app links. I just put them there if we want to show them, but definitely the 2 TikToks and the what is it? NLM, the study. So social media growth websites and YouTube gurus and all those things will often cite, but they less often link to these studies that they claim show that a varying number, but all typically over 60% and usually in the 90% range of video views on these social media sites are all muted. And when it's muted, if there's captions, the retention rate, or how long someone stays on it, is usually much longer. And almost, if not all of these social media sites use retention rate as one of their biggest metrics for pushing a video further in the algorithm. So, well, I mean, the main reason for that is it's keeping someone on the app longer so that they can advertise to them more. That's the dark side of it, but that's the point of it.
The only side of it.
That's the side of that's the side of it, I guess. That's
the reason. That's
the reason. But it still benefits us because it's getting your name out there, getting exposure, whatever you want to call it. And if you do things like affiliate links or stuff like that, you can also drive traffic or promote music. But anyways, I wanted to find that study, and I guess there was one from Verizon Media, but I couldn't find like the actual link. It was just other websites claiming a Verizon Media study shows 98% are muted. But what I did find was from I think it's National Library of Medicine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a government website, and they compiled 100 empirical studies documenting the benefits of captions. And this isn't just social media. This is captions for videos. It should be the first link you opened.
Yeah, it's already there, ready. You just need to bring it in.
I saw your face and it looked worried. So
it's no, it's all good. I mean, I just live in a perpetual state of worry. So
there's just a sense of dread. Oh, we just got like black screened on Adobe or Acrobat.
I'm just checking that you could do it. It's a PDF. It's free as well. If you want to download it.
Yeah. So we'll put the link in the description, and for those listening back on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the link is in the description there. But basically, I just kind of want to quickly, we're not going to read through the whole thing. That's very boring. But the studies report benefits to what they call a wide swath of participants as measured by a wide swath of criteria. Summarizing main ideas, recalling facts, drawing inferences, defining words, identifying emotions are all amplified when there's captions. And another really big takeaway that this article talks about is how it makes videos much more inclusive for those hard of hearing or deaf, as they put it. And it also reaches a wider audience for non-native speakers. It's easier, apparently, for them to retain what's being spoken about if they can read it as well. And Josh you teach English to non-native, right? Or you did. So maybe you can attest to that to a degree. So the link is in there. It's if you're interested in reading like summarizations of studies and stuff like that, just to see kind of like the psychology and methodology behind why these things work, it's interesting to read. But what I want to talk about before we go into some of these different apps are if we make music, what are some ways we can incorporate it beyond just like what I was saying, where it's educational videos of something like that? Like Survey Channel is saying, caption of a non-commentary synth video would be interesting. Man noodling on synth for 30 minutes. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I know that's probably the first thing you think of when we talk captions for music. Beyond education. But I mean, I have a few ideas. I'm curious if Curtis or Eon Lake or anyone in the chat has any ideas, but before I share any of the ones I'm thinking of, because I've been droning on for long enough, Curtis, do you have any ideas?
Well, as in how to bring them in and how to utilize them as a musician.
Yeah, utilize captions as a musician.
Sorry, I was laughing at what Survey Channel said because I thought it was hilarious and I wasn't listening to you.
It's not like we're on a video podcast where we're talking to each other. Yeah, I know.
Increasingly, as there's more back and forth between us and the chat, and it's more in my brain. It just becomes this more of a kind of a hangout. It's nice, and I kind of sometimes lose the fact that I'm hosting a show or co-hosting a show. Anyway,
focus.
Come back.
Come back to it. Well, I mean, I think the way that it works, or the way that we've been testing it, and the way that I can see it working directly for me is when I do a lot of kind of like announcements. So when we go live for ADSN on the Audionautic channel, and when there's something going on for say when Maroon dropped, or when I started selling CDs from Maroon, which you can still get, by the way, I do these things, and you hold your camera up and you do that thing, which is very cringy at the beginning, but then you get used to it, and it's a case of just holding your face up to the camera and talking. And then I do a test for it, non-native speakers, especially just in the realm that I exist in. That is a massive thing. There's a lot more engagement. It also, when same as subtitles, when you're watching Netflix and stuff, it keeps you engaged a lot more, and people then tend to kind of take in what you're saying a lot more. And I echo that, and that's when I kind of utilize it, when I'm making an announcement. So that's for me, that's the big one.
Okay, yeah. Before I ask Ian, like the one I want to mention, because that was one of them that I was going to talk about, announcements. But another thing that I find really interesting is doing like a synth breakdown, like how you programmed a synth. And you can just show, if you don't want to show your face or anything like that, opposed to what Curtis is mentioning, you can just, like Ian, like you can just point a camera at a hardware synth or just screen record your computer. And the captions will make it much more entertaining than just seeing a screen. You can have words moving, as I'll show you an example later, saying, hey, here's how I did this LFO, here's how I moved this, here's how I do that. And you'll see on Instagram and things like that, those videos do exist, and they typically get some good response. And like Survey Channel says, I think they're useful. Don't take that the wrong way, boys. I took it as a personal attack, quite frankly. No, I'm kidding. We all have our opinions. And no, I mean, it's a good point, because I think that's the first idea as musicians. When you see captions, like I remember before I started doing more like breakdown videos, I was like, how am I going to incorporate captions? This makes no sense. Like, I just make music. Like, I'm playing guitar, it's just going to be like guitar playing. Like, yeah, no. So, but then I started kind of thinking of other ways. And like I was saying, these production breakdowns tend to do quite well. And so if you don't want to show your face, but you're okay with talking, that's one way to do it. Ian, like, do you have any ideas?
I think this is clearly aimed at people as photogenic as I am. Going to be quite useful, I think.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that thinks the upside to this is obvious, and then reading that article from the National Institute of Health kind of underlines it, how people who aren't engaged are more engaged, people who were engaged retain more. Where's the bad in all of this? There isn't any, really. And there's another part of me that thinks, I mean, as a musician, I notice it says deaf there, and it should probably say hearing impaired or something of that nature. I mean, there are people with hearing difficulties.
It does say hard of hearing.
Yeah. Those that are still interested in music and so on. And I don't necessarily have the life experience to be able to appreciate all the benefits that this could bring. All I know is that it's more inclusive, and I'm all about that.
Yeah, I think that's the really a cool part, like away from all the retention rates and all that. It's just opening up so that more people can view it and enjoy what you're doing. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. You might be surprised.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I think, how it could help.
Do you see any way you might incorporate that?
Yeah, I mean, for somebody who likes to talk as much as I like to talk, I can't stand the sound of my own voice.
Yeah, I love hearing you talk. So
I mean,
this is what I'm asking.
Like to replace it. Plus, the other thing is, I mean, if you're showcasing music, but you're trying to add description, using a different medium makes sense, really. So you're not talking over your own music or anything and ruining it. If you're presenting sound as some sort of product or, the main feature, then having text on screen means you don't have to put anything on top of it or get in the way of it.
Well, to be fair, this is also, you're right, but this is also talking about if, like the examples I'll show, if you're talking in a video, it captions it, it adds text as well. So that's especially for like hard of hearing or anything like that. It's important there, but also just for retention. And apparently I haven't seen the studies, so I'm breaking my my promise of keeping it scientifically related, but I have seen some of these social media sites and things like that talking how having captions also just like gets people, I guess, like retention rates more willing to stay and engage with something. And like the study that we talked about, or the compilation of studies did talk about, there's much more engagement with it where they retention, where they actually like understand what's being told more clearly, I guess.
Makes sense.
My lack of sleep is coming in. Sorry, but Curtis, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think it's, I mean, I've done subtitling for movies, and I've done transcripting, taking audio or taking video and then subtitling them, and or just transcripting them. And it takes, I think the scientific term is ball ache.
I knew you were going to say that. You love saying that. I do have a solution for that, though.
Well, that's where we're going to get into. I think I've got the example of your TikTok.
Yeah, so there's two TikToks I want to show, because the first one is to show, I think the one you have pulled up is from AutoCap. So do we want to show the examples first, or do you want me to talk about each of these apps? So I've got 5 apps. One is pretty much like, but like very expensive and kind of like beyond what any of us would need, I would think. But I just want to mention it. But do you want to just go through the apps first, or do we want to show
why don't we highlight for those? Why don't we highlight just the example first of what it is and show what it does, and then we can go into the different variations of what.
Okay, so we'll have 2, because I do want to show the CapCut one as well. But this first one is from AutoCap. So this was the first one I found that got me kind of diving down this rabbit hole, and it's free, but it pops up with a watermark, and it's a big watermark, as you'll see, because I use the free one. You can pay for it. I think it's $30 a year, and the user interface is kind of clunky. Now, I don't show the user interface, but just know that. So here's the video, and that's a nice freeze frame.
They call it an unfortunate pause.
Yeah, long pause. I don't know why it's not playing. Can you hit play on that?
Yeah, I'll play it.
So here we are in Serato Studio. Today we're going to take a listen. There's the watermark and separate each stem, so we can have the drums if we want them, the bass if we want them, or what I'm looking for in this track is the main rhythm or melody. Let me show you the track. It's called Reclamation by my friend Curtis. So this is my song.
I forgot you did that.
Strings and guitars. Drums sound great too, but that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna take them out. I love that app, and if you wanted Serato. We could EQ it a bit, take out the low, sometimes a little bass. So that's all we got to show from that. I just wanted to kind of show the example of it. Sorry if I was double talking over that. But basically, you can see one thing I like about AutoCap, and I think you can do it in CapCut, but with AutoCap, you notice how certain words are highlighted yellow. Mm-hmm. You can do that, which also just kind of adds a bit of dynamic. The auto sensing for words, it auto senses the words. You don't have to type it in. All of these do, but this one is not the best. So you have to go in and change it. And when you start changing things, the UI is somewhat clunky. So that's like the pro and con of it. It's easy to use in the sense you just put it in, you say transcribe, it adds the captions, you just correct them, and then you can change the durations and where they are and stuff. But I noticed a lot of errors, and I did about 3 or 4 with AutoCap, and I noticed it every time. So that's AutoCap. The next one I think that Curtis has pulled up is CapCut, and this one's awesome, but there's a big catch to it.
What is that big catch?
It's owned by ByteDance, which owns TikTok. Yeah, it's free. So take that as you will. There is now in-app purchases, but it's only for like backgrounds or something. It's not for this caption thing, but the fact that they exist means they may be coming up or something. Also, I don't have Premiere, but J-Bell says if you have Premiere, there's a great subtitle tool there that captures speech pretty well. And also, Thomas says late to the party. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you, Thomas, also one of our patrons. But yeah, I found CapCut, the transcription's really good. It's very easy to use. It's also a legit video editor. So you can actually cut things, put things together all on your phone, or you can do it with cloud, but with the cloud on desktop on the CapCut website. So I'll show you this one. This one doesn't have an unfortunate freeze frame, fortunately.
I like that's why they put these videos up, is for the unfortunate freeze frame.
I figured.
The reason I go into your content. This is the pocket operator.
I've got this sample. So I didn't know how to do that like yellow highlight thing, but I'm sure you can. The pitch now.
It's so small, isn't it?
You can make it bigger. You can change everything you want. Or do you mean the pocket operator?
I'm talking about the pocket operator. Yeah.
Very tiny. So tiny but mighty. Open on my phone, and I'm going to record some drums because I think that might help bring everything together a little bit. Yeah, so that's all we need to show of that. You can obviously go to my YouTube if you want to see those. They're on there, or my TikTok. But but I really like CapCut, and that would be the one, spoiler alert, but I would recommend if you're willing to use it, given that it's like TikTok and all that stuff. AutoCap's great though. And then there are also, of course, you can use the in-app captions. Like TikTok has the same in-app caption stuff as CapCut, just without all the like crazy video editing and stuff like that. Instagram also has auto captioning, but I don't typically use it, so I don't know how good it is. The issue with using in-app ones is if you want to reuse content or recycle content to other social media sites, it's going to have that watermark. Like those videos I showed you, they have that TikTok watermark going. And any other social media apps, when they get a video that has a different app's watermark, they push it down.
Bury it.
Yeah, they bury it. So there are some websites apparently that will remove the watermarks. I've never done it, don't intend to. It seems kind of sketchy or whatever, but I would just use AutoCap, CapCut. J-Bell mentioned that Premiere. And then just the final one that I just want to quickly talk about, because this one looks like we always use the term, the Mac Daddy Descript. It's a desktop app and it's super expansive. It's also a video editor, but this seems much more geared towards like full length video editing and things like that. They have a free version that's very limited. And then I think there's 3 tiers of paid versions. This was the one I was saying earlier that I don't really see it useful for.
But Descript makes it really easy.
I'm going to mute that. I don't really see it useful for musicians and stuff. It seems much more geared towards like businesses and videos, and the pricing plan is kind of quite expensive. So and I think it says that the aspect ratio stuff for free is 720p. So yeah, I don't think that's the way to go. But I just wanted to mention, if you do a lot of video or captioning or things like that, this may be the way to go. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And anybody, if you have questions in the chat, let us know. Or if you think of any way you would want to use it. I do just want to say anecdotally that the videos I've been doing with captions have been doing far better than any of the videos I did without, of the same type, like where it's me talking through things and stuff like that. It seems to start, like the retention rate. I posted a YouTube video with those captions, one of those AutoCap ones. The retention rate, it was a short, was 80%. So they watched almost the full video. And most of my shorts, the retention rate is 25 to 50%.
Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, it proves it. I mean, it makes sense, like you say. There's no downside to using it. I suppose it's just a case of how extensive and how much you want to, supposed to put money behind it or something like that, or how.
But you got the free ones. Like CapCut is like, free. Yeah. And like David is saying, he says, I like the $0 option. Me too. So I have an old phone that I just turn on when I need to post like to TikTok or use CapCut. So I just use that and just throw the video in there and do all that. And then that's it. And then AutoCap was really cool. It's just the watermark is there, but it didn't seem to affect the video's performance or anything. And they both kind of have some pros and cons and things like that. But they're both free unless you want to buy the AutoCap, remove the watermark. CapCut apparently is still fully free, other than, like I said, there's some sort of in-app purchase for backgrounds or something like that. But all the transcription stuff, the video editing stuff is all free. So it's cool. And David says, good topic. I appreciate that, David. Yeah, I have been using it. I saw a lot of good success from it. And so I wanted to share it with you guys. And like we did earlier in this segment, there's some ways, whether you want to make instructional videos or just break down your setup. Like David, as we talk about in our Star Streams, has a really cool, I guess you'd say, DAW-less setup. Like they're minimal, if any, computer usage. And David, you could run through like make a TikTok or a short or an Instagram reel, just like breaking down how you route everything and things like that. And you could put captions on it. You'd never have to, do like what I was doing where I'm showing my face or anything like that. It could just be you talking. And you'd be surprised. Those seem to do really well. Like I love watching videos on gear breakdowns and stuff. And it seems like Steve does too.
Yeah, very much so. Careful where you're going, sir.
He's upping the retention rate.
Yeah.
Here is Cap.
There we go. There's the money. Thanks, Steve.
There we go. Oh, David says,
I'm not sure if that's Steve related or
could be a bit of anything. I don't know. Curtis, anything you want to add to it? Are you going to try captions?
I'll give it. Yeah, I am. The content I could do with it, could use it, and my only real use #cat. Yeah.
Sorry.
The only
to pull a Curtis and laugh while you're yakking.
The only reason I'm not using captions right now, surely is laziness. But I also have the Adobe Suite, and so J-Bell mentioned that it has a great subtitling tool. The last time I checked out the subtitling on Premiere Pro, you had to do it all yourself. I'm going to go there first because I have the Adobe Suite and that owns everything.
Captions, yeah.
Captions. So I'm going to try that first, and then I'll have a look at CapCut, I think, because we discussed AutoCap a couple of weeks ago when you first brought this to the table, and now you're saying that it's not as good. So I'm going to take your advice.
Yeah, I mean, I put in the docket like my take, and I've kind of said it, but I guess I can just kind of put it out in full. Like, if you're willing to use CapCut, I think that's the way to go. It's free. It's a video editor. Like I had a video that was made for Instagram and TikTok that was 1:22. So I just cut it in CapCut rather than having to put it into Final Cut Pro, make all these edits. I just did it right there, bounced it out, and there it was. With CapCut, though, there is an end video screen that pops up on every video. You can remove it in the video editor. It's fine for free. But if you go to the settings, you can actually just say, don't add this thing. So just know anyone that downloads CapCut, make sure if you put a video in before changing the setting, delete that ending. I mean, unless you want it to say like made on CapCut, but then go in the settings and say like, don't do this. Yeah. But yeah, AutoCap, I find I really like that highlighting aspect. I need to see if CapCut can do that. But the actual auto captions seem to have more spelling issues, and maybe it's just the way I talk, but it didn't catch some of the words I would say. Whereas CapCut seemed to catch like everything I said, like music related things and stuff like that. So
they just turn everything into Hang 10, bro.
Yeah, just like dude, surfs up, bro.
Something about guitars or waves or something.
That's what the caption said. It was like something about guitars, waves, and California, and then it just went ... dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, well, that's a good enough explanation.
Uncanny.
Yeah, it's 100% accuracy rate. And Ian, look, are we going to get to hear your soothing
I was
voice?
just wondering where these were developed and whether that makes a difference. If they're US based, are they going to recognize the US accent better? And things like
that's
that.
a good question. I don't know. I can look into it if anybody's in the chat is curious.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Dutch South African, you have a horrific Afrikaans accent. I mean, is it going to pick up anything you say? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. And maybe that's why, because some of the times I found like AutoCap was struggling was when like Curtis's music was playing and I was talking. And I'm not saying, oh, it's Curtis's music. I just mean there was other noise that seemed to kind of throw off. And sometimes what would really crack me up, CapCut did it too. It would think there was a caption when music was playing. Like it would transcribe something like, get it. And it was just the song playing.
Yeah.
It was like, okay.
Just the music.
Yeah, there's no talking. It just said, this is what the music's telling us. So yeah.
Interesting stuff though. Which one was the one that's TikTok affiliated again? CapCut. That's a shame, isn't it? Okay. Very useful though. Thank you.
But AutoCap is not. It's separate. So
yeah. And then apparently, according to J-Bell, if you have Premiere, it's very easy.
Yeah, and like I said, you can use use Instagram's built-in transcriptions and things like that. So J-Bell says Josh is trying to steal my thunder with the comments, but he says I had to make a video with the German, Czech, and Hungarian accent being ran through the AI in Premiere, and it did a great job. So there we go. Yeah, interesting stuff. Whoop.
I stole your thunder again. I've got to stop doing that. I've got to stop doing that.
Just hang back.
Yeah.
Guys are fighting over the remote again.
Mine. That's going to be a hell of a one to edit up for shorts next week, isn't it? Interesting, Sunwalker. Thank you very much for bringing it to the table. A lot of highlighted. It's one of those we've seen when it's Steve agrees, obviously, yeah.
No, J-Bell says Stevie steals all the thunder, guys. Hey, that's all right. He's the star of the show. It's his world. We're just living in it.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those where you see it. It's one of those where you notice something for the first time and suddenly it's everywhere. And so it's kind of like this unspoken thing that kind of come through. So yeah, nice one for bringing it to the table.
Yeah, I just wanted to find like the reason. Like you see it all the time, and it does, at least for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm watching this because I'm reading the caption. But it's interesting to see like why is that scientifically? And Stevie agrees, yeah.
He really does. I'm
gonna give a caption. Gonna give a caption.
Yeah, I want to throw this through CapCut or AutoCap and see if it just goes like meow, meow.
We'll have to see. If he carries on, I will let him out, but we'll see. Give us a bit. We're going to finish off, all right? So yeah. So yeah, he is the unspoken name of the Curtis Project, and he's Hungary. So apparently,
yeah. Well, we'll put a link to his podcast in the comments.
Exactly. It is 10 minutes past the hour.
Look at him just stare at you.
It's like, give me food, bro. Give me food. No.
Stop this nonsense.
Bro, just come and take a chill
We've been
pill.
talking for ages.
Come on.
He's like, enough chatter, just feed me.
Exactly. I usually feed him before the show, but I forgot today. So yeah. But he's fine. He's found a home. Anyway, it is 11 now minutes past the second hour. Do you want to do a little quick round robin, or should we save it for next week?
Let's do a quick one if you're game. I just want to say, if anybody has any questions about using these apps or anything like that, just hit me up on my socials. I'll be happy, or on our Discord, which is in the description. I'll be happy to let you know whatever. Yeah, and David says that the podcast is over, according to Stevie.
Yeah. He's usually such a good boy as well.
He's hungry.
Yeah, he is hungry. If there are any updates to that Sunwalker, please let us know. It looks like a lot of people are interested in this, so yeah, keep us up to date with this.
And if you guys make any videos with the captions, let us know in the Discord. You can share it. I'm just curious to see what everybody comes up with, if you're interested in doing it or using it.
Yeah, I want to know more. I want to know what happens, what you're using. Yeah, and this is would you call this a deep dive, Sunwalker?
I mean, how long have I been droning on about it for? Or we have been droning on about it. Yeah, I think this is a deep dive. Yeah, I'll probably make it if you guys want, but I'm considering cutting this up depending on how much meowing has interrupted it, but making the clip on YouTube for it, because I think this is important stuff if anybody's interested in using these things or increasing engagement on social media.
Let's do it. Nice to see. So yeah, a very quick round robin this week. Moving swiftly on. Been speaking a lot about artists who are exploring different genres, different styles, different methods, different workflows, different DAWs, etc., etc., etc. I've had a couple of people approach me this week with different things that they've already been doing, and they've been questioning whether or not they release it as part of their moniker or whether they release it as part of their side project, or create a side project and release it as a second side project kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get your guys' takes and everyone else's in the chat's takes. I know across the community, some people have side projects and some people have a main moniker and then release on a side moniker. Some have multiple personalities. It seems Stephen Weber, for example, I think he has about 4 or 5 different monikers.
And then use 3. Oh, okay.
As if you
gotta catch up, bro. Catch up.
Yeah, so I'm just curious as to where you guys are sitting with this, because this is an interesting debate and an interesting idea, because there's pros and cons to both. I know we've touched on it briefly before about a year and a half ago, but I'm curious to see where you're sitting with it now, so to speak. So who would like to kick us off?
Me.
Go.
Don't water down your brand. Never do it.
All right, good night.
But you did say quick.
On the other hand, if you have lots of different names, then people might not know it's all you. Obviously, I'm being facetious, and I'm going to sit in the middle again, like I always do. There's got to be a trade-off, hasn't there? I'm quite keen on having alternate, aliases for doing different things. I think that's fine to a certain degree. I wouldn't want to do it a lot, though, for the reason of, you're kind of like doubling up on the effort of promotion, all the rest of it. And does everyone know it's all the same person? Does anyone care it's all the same person? Possibly not. I don't know. But I think a certain amount of it, I think, is a healthy thing. I think it's good to have a clear identity to whatever musical projects that you have, so that you can be it's supposed to be you. It's supposed to be your thing, what you can bring that no one else can, your particular insight, taste, whatever you care to call it, mixture of influences brought together. So, yeah, I'm for kind of having defined characters for each sort of project, but at the same time, not getting involved in a billion different projects that, there are a few people you can think of in the music world that have been involved in so many things, it's almost impossible to track them all. I mean, that's not good even for a super fan, I don't think.
It's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, it's do what works for you again, much like everything else in music, but give it some consideration. I'm definitely keen on doing something different under a different name, but I don't think I'll be doing it a lot.
Okay. It's interesting. Are you going to let us know about the side project?
No, it's going to be secret.
A secret side project.
No, of course I'll mention it.
SSP. That'd be interesting to see. All right, that's very interesting. So, okay, naming the way of balance, having some side projects, calling a different name to something that's different, but then not overextending yourself into something else where no one can keep up. That makes a lot of sense.
I suppose you also want to be wary of what each one of them means to you. So if you've got a core project that is your most important thing, obviously diverting some of your energy and time towards a side project is doing exactly that. It's diverting some of your energy and time. So a downside of it could be that, your main, for want of a better word, project could suffer. So I don't know. It's just something to bear in mind, really. It's about where you want to direct your time and attention and what makes you happy.
Makes sense. Someone, would you like to do the chat before you have a weigh in?
Sure. Yeah. So FCC says, I have a love for 70s funk and soul. Always wanted to mix it with my style a bit. Maybe a Boards of Funkadelica vibe.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it for sure. And then Thomas says, depends on what you want to achieve. If you're into getting on mood playlists, a bunch of monikers is the way to go. Nobody cares about the artists anyways on these editorials. That's so dystopic. God. And then Bendu says the collaboration that I participate in was supposed to be anonymous, but then it wasn't any fun being ignored. We revealed who we were, and then we got some label interest. Bendu also says I would be so down for an FCC funk project. Get some slap bass in there, and that'd be awesome. So I guess I'm kind of on the. So Ian said he was in the middle. And then I was going to say make some room in the middle. But then as I was thinking, I realized we're both actually on the opposite ends of it. I know you say you're in the middle, but I feel like you're much more like go with it. But remember kind of like that you're diverting attention, right?
Don't go crazy.
Yeah. I would say it depends on what the difference is between the songs you're making. And this is just my own personal taste, but I look at Boards of Canada, Aphex Twin, anybody like that, and you'll have songs that are these really peaceful piano tracks, at least in Aphex Twin's case, or Boards of Canada, like ambient synths or guitars or whatever, and then you get like on Aphex Twin this crazy acid music or whatever. Like it runs the gamut of it. So
yeah,
if you start splitting the names up, you have to deal with, like you were saying, marketing. You have to deal with trying to get people interested in a new name in the social media age, trying to, do you have to make a separate social media and start from zero all over again? If you don't, are you confusing your audience when you're trying to like, here's so-and-so, and then here's Sunwarper, and it's like, who's who? But where I was thinking I was kind of in the middle is saying like, okay, if you're making a doom metal album, you wouldn't want to release that on your ambient project just because it's polar ends of the spectrum of music. So there, I think it makes sense. And you're also, it's a completely different market. I mean, yeah, like I listen to both, but that's not like, if I'm listening to an ambient artist, I'm not typically looking for that. And yeah, Shady Ridge also mentions, and that's another name I was blanking on, but I love him, but Bibio gets away with doing different styles from release to release. Yeah, definitely. And I think that is, for me, that's like a marker of a good artist. I mean, obviously artists that there's tons of different terms for good artists and stuff, but like I love the idea of like evolving a sound and still sounding like Bibio always sounds like Bibio, but he's very different from release to release. One release is all acoustic, one is like funky stuff, but you can still hear them in it, and I like that a lot. So yeah, that's where I would go. We got a couple more chats. Thomas says, that's the thing about the mood playlist. You don't have to do any social media because nobody cares anyways. Yeah, and I'm not talking for mood playlists. I'm talking like for who you are as an artist. Like if you're trying to present yourself on social media and grow as an artist. If you're just trying to get placed in tons of Spotify playlists, that's a very different game as you're talking about. And then we've got, wow, chat's really going with this. So real quick, Hydro Fighter says, I've read articles where Box stated they put themselves into a sound and became locked into the restrictions. Yeah, I think they're talking more sonically, to a degree genre, but I think they were talking more about, I remember them saying like, oh, if you slap the children's voice on it and have like warbling synths, that's when they did Campfire Head Phase and did like the guitars and things like that. But they're all like, so they still have a sonic characteristic to them. Hydro Fighter says, agree with Shady on Bibio. Bach fans were expecting them to always have this certain type of sound. I mean, at the time, yeah, I think, I don't know, at least for me, like I love that they did something totally different with Campfire and they did something totally different with Tomorrow's Harvest. But yeah, I know there is still a lot of people that say like Music Has the Right is the best one, or Gio Gotti or whatever. FCC says Frequency Control Center started as a place, a building almost, where I could do different styles in different rooms. I might get there someday. And then Bendu says, my earlier stuff was a lot more experimental. It's all me. Genre nerds, get over it. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in line with Bendu. Like, it's just, if you're an artist, make the music you want to make. And, you know, within reason. I do think, though, like I was saying, like I wouldn't put, if I was making a metal album in like drop A that was just all distorted guitars, I wouldn't put that out as Sunwarper, because it's like, that's not what I'm trying to present as Sunwarper. So yeah,
look out for Death Warper coming to you soon.
Death Warper, that's awesome. Trademark and copyright pending.
But yeah, I mean, to put my answers in context, I mean, I deliberately haven't penned myself in too much Xeon Lake. That was deliberate. I'm deliberately not doing a genre or a specific genre. You may think I am, and that's fine, but I mean, it's not supposed to be anything in particular, and I've tried to keep it varied. The music that I'm thinking of doing is definitely quite a narrow genre, and so I think it would warrant a different moniker on that basis. But yeah, I'd agree with everything you said there. It depends how different is it. Can you flex enough in your main incarnation that you don't want to do stuff like that?
Yeah.
So down for Death Warper.
That's what I was cracking up about. I'll do it. The Jazz Master's in drop A, so don't make me restring it and get it all up and running, because I'll do it. My guitar hand's getting better, so it can happen. I just have to practice the like triplet.
Would it be Death Warper or Dark Warper? I don't know.
I think Death Warper has a much more metal sound to it.
Right,
yeah. But Thomas, Thomas says, I agree to what I was saying, but nevertheless quite important to be aware what you want to achieve. At the end of the day, you need a lot of streams if you want to make a living of your art. I'm going to push back a little bit on that, because that, as you're saying what you want to achieve, do you want to just be kind of like an anonymous artist that's trying to get playlist to playlist and wholly dependent on Spotify? Or do you want to try to grow an audience that likes you for being the artist you are and buys your stuff on Bandcamp or helps support you or watches your videos or does this and that? It depends completely on what you're trying to do with it. I just, it feels like if you're chasing the mood playlist and things like that or something like that, I mean, I'm curious to say, is that like true artistry, or are you trying to ride trends of placements? You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a mean way. There's nothing wrong with that per se. It's just like, I guess, definitions, which are all subjective. But yeah, Thomas also says, "Want to be
Death Warper?"
Yeah, Thomas says Death Warper sounds awesome. Should a hunter create a moniker with this name? And he also says, yeah, there are many ways. Yeah, totally. I'll do it. Don't make me do Death Warper, because I'll do it. I'll do it. I can try to do some like growls or something too. You know, it's been a while since my metal band in high school, but we can do it.
We can make it work.
Yeah,
anything is possible if you set your mind to it, Ron.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks for that uplifting bit.
Look at that. It's been alive. It's a very interesting way of going. I sit along the line of no side projects, the single moniker, going down the artistic route, because in the same vein, so say I'm going for the Spotify playlist and I'm going for the editorials, and as Thomas said quite effectively and quite accurately, they don't really care about the artist name. It's more about the sound that it's going for. I could make a death metal track or a doom metal track, and it could still be Curtis, and it would be on that playlist, and it would be absolutely fine. And I could do the same thing with an ambient track. It would be Curtis, and it would be absolutely fine. It all stems from my own creative expression at the end of the day. And as all my, I vow that all my tracks are connected in some form or way or another anyway. So it doesn't make sense for me to make a moniker. But that's just me, and I know nothing about nothing.
Everything about your particular journey, though, which is kind of singular. Driven by a particular sort of vision, for want of a better term.
Yeah,
maybe not everyone else is.
Maybe. So like that kind of speaks to me in that regard. So to go and put for example, I've been making some drum and bass recently. Still on that trip. It's been about a year, and I'm still on that Vengent drum and bass trip. And I've been making some drum and bass, and it's coming up to the ability to kind of finish it off now. I'm still going to release it as Curtis, because it's what I've been exploring, and it's how I've been exploring. It happens to still be all about the Voltang system, but you know, it's not trippy, wonky down tempo. It's clinical drum and bass, you know. So, but that's. Yeah.
Is it just that? I mean, I'd imagine if I listened to it, I'd kind of know it was you. That it would be drum and bass as you expect, but maybe through a Curtis lens.
Perhaps. Maybe I'll have to listen and find out. And I'll send it to you. But yeah, that's where I sit with that in a way. I would. It's not for me personally, and because I suppose I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not trying to just. Well, I suppose I am trying to tell this story, but what I'm always presenting, to borrow that phrase, is me and my artistic journey, and it will always be me. That's why Curtis is the name. Curtis. It's such an ordinary kind of non-committal name. It could be anything. Like, it could speak for anything and anyone.
Yeah, Curtis with a K and a 3 is very non-committal.
Different languages. So yeah, that's where I'm saying. But the chat's been alive with all this.
Yeah, a little bit more. Thomas is praising Eon Lake's name choices. He says Death Warper is actually a genius name. I'm going for it. I'll do it. Eon Lake, you can work. You can do the drums.
You might want to bad name one.
Yeah. And then Hydro Fighter says having additional monikers sounds exhausting for managing social media accounts. Definitely, that's what I was getting at earlier, for sure. And it hasn't popped up yet on the. Here it is. I saw it on my phone. Bendu says I agree with Hydro Fighter. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing, and that's what I mean. And then the other thing too, just really quickly with, well, we'll talk about it later about the Spotify. Like if you're putting up different sounds, I feel like that would also throw off playlists if you're all on the same moniker to a degree. But we'll talk about that in another one. Also, Bendu says a death metal cover of Roy G. Biff by Death Warper, a dream. Yeah, I'm game. That sounds fun. That sounds really fun. And then J Bell, this was much earlier, but talking about how you do different sounds and things like that. Curtis, he says, I do like that about the Curtis project, like different genres and things like that.
Absolutely.
That's what I have to say. At the end of the day, I think it's whatever speaks to you the most.
Yeah. I can't pin down a genre for my music. I mean, I do like an ambient guitar song, and then I do a synthwave song, and then I do some like IDM stuff. I mean, it's just like, who cares? Like, you have to speak to who you are and present yourself as you are. That's what I've always felt. And that's Curtis and I have always kind of echoed the same sentiment there. We both were always like, what's the point of a side project unless it's Death Warper?
That's the exception that proves the rule.
The asterisk. That's the end of my statement. Just unless it's Death Warper.
I think that's probably that's the nugget to come from this. You know, you'll know if it needs to be a side.
Yeah, exactly. You'll know if it needs to be a side project. Yeah. Otherwise, it's probably safe to just put out as yourself.
As a closing remark to our show today, we've just got a brand new patron, Matt Donatelli. Thank you ever so much. Yeah, thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so lovely. Yeah, cheers, man.
We'll get you in the Discord and the Twitter, and then we hope to see you on Sunday. And all patrons, everybody listening, Thomas, Hydro Fighter, Bendu, David, everybody, Shady Ridge. We hope to see you all. And if anybody wants to come hang out on Sunday and join our Starstream Hangout, just head to the Patreon link in the description, and we'll see you over there.
It's going to be a lovely long weekend. And
Bendy says, one of us, Survey Channel.
One of us.
And then it doesn't show the emojis, but we've got elbow cough for the...
I thought that was a dab.
Yeah, it's dabbing.
It is, but and Survey Channel just sent a piece. Yeah, we appreciate it, Matt. It for some reason on StreamYard, it doesn't show the emojis, but it shows thumbs up. Here's David giving thumbs up, and Matt, I didn't even realize, Survey Channel, we got just some emojis, I guess it doesn't recognize. And Shady Ridge, one of our patrons, says that he'll try to make the start stream. Yeah, so it'll be 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. UTC, and 8 p.m. for Josh's time zone, Curtis's time zone, which is what, UTC plus 1?
Yeah, it's Central European time. So Thomas,
there it is.
Who's in Cape, I think Copenhagen, he's on our time as well.
Yeah.
And
just really quick for anybody listening on Saturday when this goes live on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the link is in the description to join the Patreon. The Starstream will be the day after it goes live Saturday, but the next one after that will be in June if you listen to it later. Yeah, Thomas says 20 in Copenhagen, I guess. Yeah, it's the same time for Curtis as you. And Matt, 11 Survey Channel, 11 a.m. Pacific, so it would be 3 hours ahead for you.
11 a.m. Pacific.
3 hours from 11.
I love how the chat interacts and like just pick up at the pieces of our poor promotional tendencies. I love it. It's great. It's awesome. It's been a lovely show. Thank you ever so much for everyone joining us today. Chat's been alive. It's been lovely to see everyone. We really appreciate you coming down and hanging out with us on my Wednesday evening, your Wednesday during the day, etc. It really is
pre-lunch.
Your
That's
pre-lunch.
for me. It's a pre-lunch.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll be back next week. Lots to talk about. We are still in NAMM season, so there's a lot coming doing.
Isn't that other was it Super Booth? That's happening soon, right?
Super Booth is next week. So not next ADSN, the ADSN after. We should have something fun to talk about there. But we are, so a lot is happening. And I'm sure there'll be more free stuff and more PSAs to go through, more marketing. Got a lot to live up for after that wonderful deep dive.
Oh, don't expect that often. But if you guys like that type of format, let me know, because I'm thinking maybe we can make that a sort of like once a month thing. That was a lot of research, and that was time consuming. I couldn't get much news in because of it. So yeah, but if you guys like that type of format, and if there's any specific topics in marketing or even gear or anything like that, let us know. And once we get StreamYard Pro, we can do that type of deep dive with gear and things like that. So it's kind of a little teaser of what we can do once we reach that goal. And chat, you guys, all the patrons, everybody, you're helping us get there. We're almost there. We're getting there. So just, but like I said, if anybody wants to just donate to that, the PayPal's there. And the last thing, if you need any music or if you want to submit music to a playlist, we're almost at 400 followers on the Audionautic radio playlist. It's got the best in independent electronic music. We try to showcase everybody's stuff. It doesn't have to be new. If it's awesome, which I know everybody who's here makes awesome music, send it to me. I'll check it out and try to fit it in there. It's chill electronic music, but there's beats, there's ambient, there's all that. So yeah.
If you like it, share it.
That helps a ton. Yeah.
It helps a ton. We love you hanging out. Hanging out is just enough. If you also want to help spread the word, a share goes a long way. So it's always lovely. Ian, any final words before we sign off?
Yeah, you got any music stuff coming this week?
Yeah.
A captioned video, maybe?
Maybe a caption video. Yeah. I'm finishing some stuff up and doing a bit of rehearsals, really.
Nice.
Not a huge amount, but yeah, ticking over. Got some things to finish off.
Nice, Ian. Curtis, what about you?
I'm still playing. I'm still in theatre tech mode. So I will be away from Ableton for another week or so. No, another couple of days until Sunday, basically. And then, so that's what I'm doing. But that's fun. That's exciting. That's rigging, getting dirty, hanging off rigging lights and dusting off barn doors. That's fun.
It's exciting.
What about you, Sam Walker?
Well, you're also live in 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, I am going live in 30 minutes. That is a thing. Yeah, that is a thing. I'm going to feed Steve because otherwise he will.
You should have him on the mic. He should be doing the vocals on top of your music.
He should be. Yeah, I'm going to feed Steve, make a cup of tea. We'll what's the phrase? We'll do the housekeeping on the other side of closing the stream, and then I'll be online.
Yeah. And then I've got. Thanks to you guys in the chat from last week, I threw that vote up for the live stream and for tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. So all those time zones we talked about 5 minutes ago, same time tomorrow. It looks like the ambient surf guitars won. So I think I'm going to try to just use the SP and just sample into it with a bunch of guitar sounds, maybe make bass notes out of the low, well, it's D for me because I'm in D standard, but the low E string and drop it an octave. But we're going to try to make some ambient stuff, probably with just the SP. And I'm hoping if I can get it all set up today with that laptop, doing a 2-camera setup with one phone pointing down, because you can do wireless or plug it in with the USB-C, but you can use your phone as a camera. Just it auto connects. It's really cool with Ventura, the new update for Mac.
Looking forward to that.
That's what I'll be doing. So if anybody wants to hang out, I'll be posting on my socials the link, but the premiere thing or the scheduled thing is up on my YouTube at Sunwarper if you want to check it out. And at Curtis, right, for your live stream in a little bit.
That's the one. That's the one.
Okay.
Sick. Well, we'll see you all next week. Thank you ever so much. Love you all.
Just want to get all of your chats in. Survey Channel says that he'll try to make the star stream. Yeah, we hope to see you. Good chatting with you as well. Right. Shady Ridge says thanks. Hydro Fighter Later Skaters. That reminds me of The Office with Creed.
Yeah, I like that.
Eon is in the chat. He says, cheers, guys. Great to hang out as ever. Curtis is there. Great to see you all. Have a wicked one. See you on Sunday. I don't have my phone open anymore, so this is me verbally saying see you all Sunday. Thanks so much for watching. And just lastly, FCC says thanks, everyone. See you. It's been great talking with you all, and we'll see you Sunday, and we'll see you on Wednesday for the next ADSN. Thanks for watching.
Ciao.